Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Syifa Alfa-Adi Salsabila. My student number is 205-24072. I am from class TBIGB, and today I will summarize the material from course Methodology of Islamic Studies. The first material is Introduction to Methodology of Islamic Studies. Islamic studies is a scientific study of Islam, not only from the aspect of teachings, Al-Quran and Hadith, but also its practice in social life. In understanding Islam, there are two important dimensions. The first one is normative, teachings that come from revelation or ideal and absolute. The second one is historical, practices and understanding of Muslims in social and cultural contexts. The scope of Islamic studies is very wide, including Al-Quran and Hadith, Fiqh, Aqidah, Tasawwuf, history, and Islamic civilization, as well as social, cultural, and community life aspects. Methodology is very important because makes studies more systematic and scientific, avoids subjectivity and bias, bridges between text and social reality. Approaches in Islamic studies are diverse, such as normative theological, based on revelation, historical, based on history, sociological and anthropological, looking at social practices, and integrative, combining various approaches. In a sense, Islamic studies must be carried out scientifically, critically, and interdisciplinary to produce a comprehensive understanding that is relevant to the times. The second material is History of the Growth and Development of Islamic Studies in the World. Islamic studies developed along with the development of Islamic education, both in the Muslim world, the West, and Indonesia. At first, learning was carried out in mosques and scholars' houses with simple methods, memorization, and starting to use logic. The Abbasid period became the peak of development. More structured educational institutional emerged and knowledge development into general fields, science, social. Baitul Hikmah in Baghdad became a center of knowledge, translation, and research from various civilizations. Higher education institutions, or Al-Jami'ah, appeared such as Al-Azhar, Az-Zitoun, and Al-Qarawiyyin. However, Islamic education tended to focus on religious knowledge, general knowledge development less due to limited freedom of thought. Some important centers of Islamic studies, Madrasah Nizamiyah, Baitul Hikmah, and Al-Azhar University. Decline occurred after political conflicts and the destruction of Baghdad by the Mongols, which weakened the development of knowledge. The third material is religion in human life. Humans have a religious nature, which is a natural tendency to know and worship God. Because human reason is limited, religion is needed as a guide to understand life, especially unseen matters. And definition of humans and religion. Humans are biological, psychological, and social beings with the purpose of life to worship and become Khalifah on earth. Meanwhile, religion is a system of belief from God that regulates the relationship between humans and God, others, and the environment. The relationship between religion and humans are natural. If humans deviate from religious values, there will be a feeling of guilt internally. And then, the function of religion in human lives is source of morals, determines good and bad. And then, quite to truth, complements the limitation of reason. And then, life with line gives direction and purpose in life, and social control regulates behavior in society, and psychological function gives calmness, hope, and strength in facing problems. So the conclusion is religion is very important because it becomes a guide for life, help humans understand the meaning of life, controls behavior, and gives inner peace. The fourth material is characteristic and dimension of Islamic teachings. Islam is a comprehensive religion regulating the relationship between humans and God, others, and the environment. Covers various fields: akidah, worship, morals, social, economy, education, and politics. In economics, it emphasizes honesty and justice, while in politics, it emphasizes trust, justice, consultation, and public welfare. Dimensions of Islamic teaching consist of three main pillars. The first one is Aqidah, that is basic belief in Allah or main foundation. The second one is Sharia, rules or laws of life and worship as a form of practicing Aqidah. And the third one is Akhlaq, behavior or ethics as a result of Aqidah and Sharia. Relationship between the three, Aqidah, Sharia, and Akhlaq, cannot be separated and complement each other. Aqidah encourages the implementation of Sharia and then produces Akhlaq. The balance of the three is important to form a good and harmonious life. And then the fifth material is Islam as a cultural phenomenon. Research on religion focuses on normative teachings. Religious research focus on practice and social phenomena in society. Both complement each other to understand religion completely. Approaches in religious studies. The first one is theological, that emphasizes the truth of teachings and maintains the purity of religion, but less contextual. And then anthropological, sees religion as part of cultural practices can differ depending on the religion. And then sociological, religion as a social value system or control and social cohesion. And then philosophical, studies meaning, essence, and purpose of religion rationally and deeply. And then historical, understands religion from its historical development and context. Religion is a complex phenomenon, normative and social and cultural and historical, cannot be understood using only one approach. So the conclusion is it is necessary to combine various approaches so that understanding of religion becomes more comprehensive, contextual, and relevant to modern life. And then the sixth material is methods in Islamic studies. The method of Islamic studies is a way or approach to understand Islamic teachings systematically and scientifically based on the Quran and Hadith, and studied from various perspectives, like history, social, and cultural. The purpose is to understand Islamic teachings correctly, to develop critical and objective attitudes, to broaden Islamic knowledge, to adjust Islam with the development of the times, to strengthen faith and morals, and to develop tolerance and moderate attitudes. Types of methods. The first one is anthropological, sees Islam from culture and community traditions, and sociological, sees Islam in social life, and then philosophical, understand meaning and values deeply, historical, sees the development of Islam in history, and normative, focuses on the Quran, Hadith, and Islamic law. Application, used in various fields such as research, education, culture, and social life to understand and practice Islam properly and relevant to the times. In that sense, methods of Islamic studies help understand Islamic teachings broadly, not only from text but also life context, so it becomes more relevant and wise in practice. The seventh material is about research on religion and religiousness. Before that, we must first know the nature of religion and research. The nature of religion is absolute or doctrine. It means we may believe that our religion is the most correct, but must not insult other religions, while the natural of research is relative or point of view, so it must not claim itself as the most correct. Islam is seen from many or few. Example, the Quran verse that mentions male thief and female thief. Why is the male mentioned first? Because most thieves are male, not meaning females never steal. While research is seen from existence or absence. Example, corruption in China is many. Then after that penalty is applied in decreases. That means that penalty for corruptors is not effective because corruption still exists. So, when Islam is applied using research or existence or absence, it will fail. That is why the standard of Islam is seen from many or few, not existence or absence. In addition, Islam also cannot be seen from benefit or harm, but seen from many or few, which is more benefit or harm. Example, pork. Pork has benefits but also harm, and the harm is greater, so it is forbidden to consume. If benefits and harm are equal, then it is forbidden. Example, domesticated donkey. While research can be seen from benefit and harm, it will never end because in this world nothing is 100% beneficially or 100% harmful. Benefit is subjective. The eighth material is about model of tafsir research. Nature and development of tafsir. Tafsir is the science to understand and explain the content of the Quran so it can be practiced. Developed from the time of the Prophet, companions, Tabi'in until the codification period. It is dynamic, continuously adjusting to the development of times and needs of the people. Background of tafsir research. Tafsir research is important because development of science and technology, social and cultural changes, the need for relevant understanding of the Quran, the emergence of various Islamic schools of thought. The goal, so that the Quran remains contextual and able to answer modern problems. Role of tafsir research. Bridge the Quranic text with real life, produce more comprehensive understanding, not only contextual, develops new methods and approaches in Islamic studies. And then models of tafsir research. The first one is tahlili, interprets verses in detail and sequentially. And then ijmali, brief and general explanation. And then muqarran, compares various tafsir. And then maudu'i or thematic, focus on one particular theme. And then contextual, relates the meaning of verses with past and present conditions. And then interdisciplinary, combines other science like sociology, economics, and others. And then hermeneutic, emphasis interpretation through interaction between text, interpreter, and context. So the conclusion, tafsir is very important as a bridge between revelation and human life. Tafsir research must continue to develop so the Quran remains relevant throughout time. Various tafsir models show the richness and flexibility of Islamic scholarship. The ninth material is about model of hadith research. Hadith is everything that comes from Prophet Muhammad SAW in the form of sayings or call, actions or fi'il, approvals or takrir, and his characteristics. Hadith is the second source of Islamic law after the Quran and functions as an explanation of Islamic teachings. Models of hadith research. The first one is Takrir hadith research, tracing hadith sources to know its authenticity and quality, Sahih, Da'if, and others. And then Sanad research, studying the chain of narrators, whether they are trustworthy or not. And then Matan research, studying the content of hadith, whether it aligns with the Quran, recent history, and scientific facts. And then contextual or contemporary research, understanding hadith according to current conditions, including social, cultural, and scientific aspects. In a sense, hadith research not only checks authenticity but also understands its content and relevance so it remains suitable with the development of the times. The tenth material is ijtihad as a source and method of Islamic studies. History of ijtihad. Amr bin As performed tayammum even though there was a lot of water. He was in a state of junub and was asked to lead prayer. Then it was reported to the Prophet Muhammad. The Prophet asked him why he did tayammum even though there was water. And he answered, because it was very cold and he feared dying. The Prophet remained silent. This is called ijtihad. The Prophet Muhammad also did ijtihad, and his ijtihad was not always correct. If correct, gets 2 rewards. If wrong, gets 1 reward. The gate of ijtihad was closed for new madhab, because there are only 4 madhabs. Besides that, ijtihad remains open until the day of judgment. Example like IVF, Chris, and others. And then difference between worldly ijtihad and hereafter or religious ijtihad. Example of worldly ijtihad like Chris, airplanes, and others. Ijtihad in religious matters or hereafter that is not correct is invalid. In a sense, ijtihad is allowed as long as it does not contradict Islamic teachings. And then types of ijtihad is ijma, qiyas, urf, istihsan, maslahah mursalah, mujtahid mutlak, mujtahid ghair mustaqil, mujtahid muqayyad, mujtahid tarjih, and muqallid. And then 11 material is Islam in the era of globalization. Globalization is a process of major change due to technological advancement that affects all aspects of life, including religion. Islam remains as a guide of life, but must be responded to wisely so it is not eroded by negative influence of globalization. Approaches in Islam, the first one is bayani, based on text, Quran and Hadith, becomes the main basis in understanding and responding to globalization through ijtihad. And then irfani, based on spirituality and inner experience or tasawwuf, provides spiritual strength and depth of faith. And then burhani, based on rationality or logic, used for scientific thinking and facing knowledge development. Opportunities of globalization. Islamic preaching can spread widely through digital media. Access to religious knowledge becomes easier, increasing cooperation and enhance of knowledge among Muslims, strengthening Islamic identity, especially among youth. Challenges of globalization. The entry of foreign cultural or secularism, hedonism, and decreasing interest in deep religious study, and the spread of hoaxes and incorrect religious understanding, and spiritual and identity crisis. Efforts to face globalization is strengthening understanding of religion texts or bayani, developing ijtihad for modern issues, improving religions literacy in the digital era, strengthening spirituality or irfani, using reason or logic wisely or burhani, applying moderate attitudes or not extreme, not totally free. So the conclusion, Islam is able to face globalization by combining bayani, irfani, and burhani approaches. So Muslims can follow development without losing Islamic identity. The 12th material is Dynamics of Contemporary Islam. Contemporary Islamic dynamics is the development of Islamic thought and practice as a response to changes of the times, social, cultural, technology, and globalization. Islam remains dynamic and able to adapt without leaving its core values. Its development can be seen in cultural Islam, spreading teachings through culture and traditions, structural Islam, through social, political, and educational institutions. Post-traditionalism, combining Islamic teachings with modern issues such as human rights, democracy, and pluralism. Patterns of religiosity among Muslims are divided into fundamentalist or textual, liberal or free and open, modernist or balance between religion and modernity. In the modern and globalization era, challenges include foreign cultural influence, digital technology development, identity crisis, radicalism. However, technology also gives great opportunities for da'wah. Therefore, it is need religions, moderations, or tolerance and balance, digital literacy, and prevention of radicalism. In a sense, Islam remains relevant in modern times if understood in a moderate, open, and contextual way. And then the last material is areas of Islamic studies. Areas of Islamic studies is an academic study of Islam in various regions of the world using interdisciplinary approaches like history, sociology, anthropology, and others. Islam is understood not only as teachings, but also as a social and cultural phenomenon. Islamic studies in the West, initially from Orientalism related to colonialism, then developed into scientific study, critical, objective, and interdisciplinary. Figures called Zihar, Schach, Esposito. Contribution modern scientific methods, criticism, Western bias, and lack of understanding of Muslim perspective. Islamic studies in the Muslim world, classical period, golden age, Makkah, Medina, Baghdad. Many scholars and scientists emerged. Middle period, focus on preserving traditions, tend to taqlid. Modern period, reform emerged, more open and interdisciplinary approach. And Islamic studies in Indonesia combines normative or elevation and historical or social reality approaches, influenced by pesantren and PTKIN, and the characteristic is moderate, inclusive, and integrative. In a sense, Islamic studies differ in each region, West, Muslim world, Indonesia, because influenced by history and culture, producing various approaches that complement each others. So the material is over. I will make general conclusion. In general, Islamic studies is a field of study that not only discusses Islamic teachings in a normative way, but also examines how those teachings are practiced in real life. Islam is understood as a dynamic religion that can be studied through various approaches such as theological, historical, sociological, and philosophical. The development of Islamic studies over time shows that the understanding of Islam always changes according to the context of the era. Therefore, scientific methods and research are needed so that Islamic teachings remain relevant and able to respond to modern challenges, including in the era of globalization and technological development. And then for learning reflection, from this learning, I understand that Islam cannot be studied from only one point of view. We need to see it as a whole, both from the textual aspect and social reality. I also learned that methods in Islamic studies are very important to avoid narrow or biased understanding. The benefit I felt is gaining more knowledge about how Islam can remain relevant in different situations and times, as well as the importance of being moderate, critical, and open-minded in understanding religion. And then for personal opinion, in my opinion, an interdisciplinary approach in Islamic studies is very important in this era. This is because many modern issues cannot be answered only through a textual approach, but also require social, cultural, and rational analysis. In addition, ijtihad is also the key to keeping Islam alive and not rigid. However, ijtihad must still be within the boundaries of Islamic teachings so that it does not deviate. In this way, Islam can remain a relevant guide for life without losing its core values. As a closing, it can be concluded that Islam is a religion that is not only fixed in its teachings, but also flexible in its application. Therefore, understanding Islam scientifically, critically, and contextually is the key so that we can practice it properly in the midst of changing times. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.